What is up, guys? It's Thomas back with episode 3 of the vlogs. It is Friday, October 13th, 2017. Tonight we're going to be hitting a leg workout. Basically tonight's workout is not going to be an edit. It's going to be a voiceover because I'm going to be doing it solo. So I'm going to try and hook up my camera and just in any sort of angle that I can and just give you kind of a rundown of some of the sets, the reps, and the weights that I'm using. Tonight I also wanted to kind of touch on a few things, basically macro counting wise. I'm going to give you guys a macro update where I'm at, and also I want to go over liquids and whether or not you guys actually count your liquids in your diet, and when you do, maybe you're doing in your, maybe you don't in your bulk, but you're doing obviously show season. But we're going to go over all that. I want to give you kind of my side of it, the level of importance that I feel it plays, and I'm going to show you my post-workout, pre and post-workout meal. So pre-workout wise, I'm going to be eating a pasta. Now, the reason I choose pasta, and I know a lot of you may be saying carbs, what the heck, Thomas, why are you eating carbs before a workout? Personally, I like to enjoy my carbs probably about an hour before my workout. It keeps me full, energized, it gives me a good pump, and overall it's just, I don't know, it's just a better feeling for me. And of course, post-workout, I'm going to take in my proteins. I usually like to get in a protein shake and usually a couple eggs, and that's my post-workout meal, but I'll show you guys that later. But I kind of wanted to go over liquids and counting them in your macros, whether you guys do or don't. I personally just had kind of a thought process over the past week. Like I don't know about you, but I'm typically a 2-cup of coffee drinker every morning. And when you think about it, like when you're drinking coffee, if you're drinking it like, let's say 1 cream, 1 sugar, or double or however you take your coffee. Now, I know a lot of people, if you're drinking it black, all the power to you. I mean, that's preferably how we would want to drink it, but not all of us do enjoy that. Now, I did a little bit of research on the computer, and just based on Tim Hortons or wherever you get your coffee, Starbucks or anything like that, there's close to 42 grams of carbs in a large double coffee. That's crazy, especially if you're actually counting your carbs and you're trying to lose weight. Let's say your carbs are right around 300 grams a day. If you're taking in 2 large coffee doubles, you're at 80 grams of carbs right there. That is insane. It's something to think about, especially when, like, if you're prepping or anything like that. If you're trying to prep for a show, if you're in a bulk, all the part, like eat and drink whatever you want to do, want to eat, but when you're cutting down, keep that in mind. You might have to kick coffee out. You might have to find an alternative. I know for me personally, when I was prepping for my show in May, what really helped me is I dropped coffee off my diet, and I stuck to Monster energy drinks, these Ultra Zeros, and that was, aspartame, people are gonna have love-hate relationship with that. But I mean, when you're prepping for 12 weeks and you're gonna take in that little bound of aspartame, it's really not going to hurt you. But keep in mind that that coffee, or those 2 coffees that you're going to take in, there's 80 grams of carbs, and when you're cutting for a show, you're usually like 12 weeks out, you might be at like 200 plus carbs, maybe 300 depending on your size, depending on what you're competing for or who you are. It's totally going to calculate out differently for who you are, but I know I was roughly around 200, 250 carbs at the 12-week point. And then as I got closer, so into the, let's say 4 weeks out, those carbs quickly dropped. Like we're talking like 100 and below. So I couldn't even honestly have a coffee. I had to find my carb sources elsewhere, usually in sweet potatoes, because they have such a lower, it takes the volume that you need to eat for sweet potatoes compared to white rice is far greater. But you guys got to keep in mind that coffee can kill your diet. As much as it wakes you up in the morning, it can and it will kill your diet. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm officially the world's biggest hypocrite, because I just finished talking to you guys about coffee, but I am 7 months out from a show, so at this point, Tim Hortons is allowed. And another thing just to add to the whole coffee thing is if you seriously cannot drop your coffees or your teas with the sugar in it, another alternative, and it's very hypocritical because again the whole aspartame situation, but if you don't mind the taste of sweetener, make the swap to sweetener. And another thing too is that when you're adding cream to your coffee, that's extra fat as well. I can't remember honestly the percentage or the macros that are in cream, but I know that none of us truly measure it out. If you do, you're insane, but if most people don't, it's pretty just much a free flow out of the jug. However much you want to put in there, you put in there. But if someone was to actually calculate it out, it's probably going to scare you because most creams are usually around 14 to 18%, I believe, and that can be quite a substantial amount of fat. So I don't know if I've ever introduced you guys to this impeccable little weirdo, but this is Salem. She's little. She's only about 3 months old. Right? You're just a little guy. Just a little guy. She's cute, but she torments me when I try to sleep and wakes me up every morning at 5 o'clock on the dot. So I've had my pre-workout meal. I've had tons of water today, and let's go to the gym. Follow along. So for tonight's workout, I started out with squats. You can see here that basically I'm using no weight on the bar and just kind of greasing the groove. So I'm going to do 2 sets of these at 10 reps each, and just to get warmed up and get fired up. Now, for most of you that don't know me, about a year ago, I'm going to say probably about a year and a half ago, I had a decently bad injury to my lower back, and ever since then I experienced tightness from time to time. Now in squats last night I wasn't really feeling it too much. It was bugging me a little bit, but I decided to kind of push through it, and you'll see later on in the workout that I did jump to using a belt. Only reason for that is just to keep my lower back secure and make sure nothing gets messed up. Now that injury was, I was deadlifting roughly, I think I was deadlifting 405 for probably my 3rd or 4th time, and when I did, I got to the lockout position and I felt somewhat of a pop in my lower back. Ever since then, I've had some days where my lower back bugs me to the point where I need to skip leg day and not do it, but most days it seems to be all right. I did go to a chiropractor for it. That seemed to help quite a bit. He didn't really necessarily give me any sort of, like, I didn't have any x-rays done. He basically just kind of corrected it and told me I had a pelvic misalignment. So moving on to my working sets here, this workout was actually aimed at being more of a high volume, but I started out with 135 here and did 4 sets of 10, and afterwards you're going to see I'm jumping the weight up. I wasn't really feeling high volume today, so we were going to go and try for some heavy singles, which you'll see a little bit later on here. Now, we've got 225 on the bar here, and only did 4 sets of 5 because I knew right after the 135 I wasn't necessarily going to gas myself, so I continued with a little bit more high volume. I would say maybe moderate volume here with 4 sets of 5 at 225. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, Thomas, what the hell? You can't squat a lot of weight. Well, to be honest with you, I'm not going to lie. I've never been one to lie. Squats are definitely my weakest lift, but I definitely want to improve them. That being said, I'm going to be incorporating more of a high volume training, and once a week I want to at least hit a heavy day. So let's say 5 sets of 5 squats, 5 sets of 5 deadlifts, and just try to build up my strength in my leg training. Here, moving on to the stiff-legged deadlift. This is one of my stronger lifts, and I can usually do right up about 275 for a solid eight reps. But here I'm just trying to get the hamstrings pumping. So we did 4 sets of 10, 2 sets of 10 at 135, and then the next set you're going to see is 225 for 2 sets of 10. All right, so here we have 225 on the bar for 10 reps. On this movement, I really try to focus on keeping a very neutral spine, sticking my butt out as far as I can with a slight bend in my knees, and squeezing my glutes at the top. All right, moving on to some high volume stuff here. We have the laying hamstring curl, which I did 5 sets of 10 reps at roughly about, I think, between 110 pounds and 95 pounds, if I remember correctly. Now, with this motion, I really try to focus. It's hard. I got long limbs, like really long legs, as you can see, but with the machine set at the extra large and at the lowest it can possibly go, it works out decently and fairly well. I try to squeeze at the top for a half second and then release. Like I said, I'm doing high volume, so I'm not trying to do any sort of slow release and whatnot. I'm just trying to move the weight, squeeze it at the top, lower it back down, squeeze it at the top, lower it back down. Now, one of the last exercises, and this was again high volume, I was doing on the hoist machines. If you haven't heard of those, they basically put you into the position that you should be when you're moving the weight. So they have these for everything from lat pull down to pec flies to even like the leg extension here. And I personally felt this much more than what I would on the traditional leg extension machine. Now, I did these at about 4 sets for 12 reps, and the gym was actually closing in 10 minutes, so I had to bang these out, and then I quickly did 2 sets of calf raises and got out of there. And that concludes my workout. Unfortunately, the gym closes at 10. I forgot about that. 8th Avenue one actually closes at 10. Should have gone to 16th because it's actually open 24 hours. Excuse my hair, but it was a sweaty one. So now I'm gonna go make some eggs and have a protein shake. But I thought I'd give you guys just kind of a little bit of a physique update. But still a long road ahead, but we're gonna be making progress. And I'll give you guys my macro update right now, just before I go cook my meal. Currently, right now, I'm sitting at 190 grams of protein per day, and I'm also jumped my carbs up to 330 grams, and fat, I'm still staying at that 60 to 70 grams per day. So, post-workout meal, you guys, I got 2 bagels with cream cheese, light cream cheese, so you know, 2 whole eggs, and roughly about 3/4 cup of egg whites, and 1 scoop of protein. And that concludes the vlog, guys. I appreciate you guys following along. I'm going through my workout, seeing what I'm eating. Stay tuned because on Sunday, Riley and I and a couple friends are going to be going to Screamfest. So I'm going to see what I can do about vlogging there, and should be a pretty fun time. Thanks guys for watching.